I really don't think that Christians are actually ready and willing to talk about how much the church has hurt people.
You are absolutely right. They should not have hurt you the way that they did at that church. Your church hurt is real. It is valid.
I'm a girl who experienced church hurt. Let me tell you guys how God healed me.
Welcome to Tambourine Chronicles. My name is Kenora. In today's video, we will address the topic of church hurt because, like myself, many Christians have experienced church trauma. My hope is that these testimonies of believers will help you on your healing journey. Let's jump into the first story.
You are absolutely right. They should not have hurt you the way that they did at that church. Your church hurt is real. It is valid. But I want you to do something that is very critical. Focus on the health of your heart. So anytime you tell your story, anytime you have something to say about the church hurt that you have experienced, I want the goal, the end goal of that to be to get to healthy faith, to get to healing, so that you can keep living your life rather than sitting around in the pain of the stuff that happened to you. It was real, it's valid, and now it's time for you to heal. I know your next question is, so what is next? How do I heal? It's going to take talking about it. It takes getting some therapy sometimes, and it's okay to go and get therapy and deal specifically with church hurt. There are people that are trained to help you with religious trauma. One of the biggest things that I have always experienced in dealing with religious trauma is people have a hard time actually recognizing that it's trauma that has them in the space that they're in, rather than their own filth or unworthiness, or it's their problem. So instead of recognizing that there has been religious trauma, spiritual abuse, there has been some spaces where unhealthy things have happened, we start to look inward and we start to internalize it and think that something is wrong with us, and therein lies self-rejection. So instead of resting in that pain, staying in that space where you're trying to figure out, is it me or was it really the pastor? Was it me or was it really the church members? Like, where is that? Instead of trying to figure out the whys and who to blame and all of that, I want you to start to focus on your health. I want you to get some help, and it's okay to do that, because it's time for you to start living out healthy faith. And the only way to do that is to heal, so that you can now recognize what is healthy and what is unhealthy.
I'm a girl who experienced church hurt. Let me tell you guys how God healed me. And this video is for anybody who is currently dealing with church hurt or who got out of a church hurt situation and is in the healing stages. So my level of church hurt was honestly traumatizing, and I never thought that I would have ever experienced this level of pain, especially in a scene as such. We really just thank God because he was able to turn my pain into beauty. And throughout the situation, I was able to experience a level of Jesus that I have never experienced ever in my life. I was left with two options. It was either one, I was going to leave the church and honestly just abandon this walk with Christ in all, or two, I was going to trust God and really tug on his robe and trust the direction that he was going to take me in. And by the grace of God, he was able to redirect and reorder my steps in such a beautiful way. And I'm now planted in such an amazing church home with such an amazing community, amazing pastors, and honestly, I just thank God. But this just comes to show God's nature, in that throughout this whole situation, he never left me, nor did he forsake me. And at the end of the day, he didn't allow that one bad experience to shape every other experience, because I could have simply said, I'm done with church, never entering a church, never going back. But God showed me that I need church and I need community. But this time I'm going to do it with him, and he's going to order my steps. He's going to order my steps exactly where I need to go. And he did just that. So I know we hear a lot of church hurt stories, and people just try to paint the church out to just be so terrible and be so bad. I've experienced this hurt once. That means every other church and every other pastor and every other member within a church is going to do the same things to you again. But I just want you guys to know that you need church. Church hurt is very much real, and I feel for people who experience that because I've experienced it. But I want you to know that you can make it through that pain, y'all. I'm telling you guys, I was depressed. angry, sad. Like, I literally never thought that I would step foot in a church, let alone be planted in a church. So it's very much possible. Like, if God can shift my mindset, he can definitely shift your mindset.
When I say God has a sense of humor, do y'all want to know how God gave me the little whoop-de-whoop? So my mom got saved when she was 8 months pregnant of me. So I did, in fact, grow up in the church. I'd been to that church my entire life. This church watched me grow up. Well, unfortunately, as I developed as a young lady, these women apparently thought that I could help the way I developed, and I all of a sudden was thought of as the harlot in the church, when there was other girls in the church doing that's neither here nor there. So that's where a lot of my church hurt came from. Just them being ugly to me, and even the adults telling their kids things and their kids being convicted and being like, listen, this is what my parents said about you and I don't feel right about it. You're my friend. And it was a lot. And because of all that, it completely turned me away from the church and Christians. So my mother was very much, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. So if you live in this house, you were going to church. Well, I had to get a job when I was 16. So I took that as full opportunity to tell them, I don't care what my schedule is. Work me every Wednesday night and every Sunday morning so that I didn't have to go to church. Cut to 17 years later, I give my life to the Lord. I am church hunting. I'm looking for different churches. And then my plan was to go to this one church, and I show up, but they're closed for Memorial Weekend. So I was going to go to, I think it was the 11:30 service, and I showed up right before 11:30 because we were just going to kind of sneak in. So the only other church that was available was all the way across town because I live in a smaller town. By the time I got there, I was going to miss worship, and I didn't want to do that. So I'm looking up churches online, and I'm like, where is another church that's open for I guess a later time? This is where God's funny. The only church that was available for a later time, which was going to be a 1 o'clock service, was that church. That hurt me. Which, mind you, it's not the same church. There's a different pastor. There's even a different name. The congregation really isn't even the same. And I'm over here tripping because literally the week before, as I'm church hunting, I literally said out loud, well, I'm going to go church hunting, but there's no way I'll ever step foot back in that building. Because, no. PTSD? No. Well, funny enough, that was the only one that was available. And I'm like, you know what? I let man keep me away from church and a relationship with the Lord. I'm not about to let a building do the same. So, what did I do? I went to that church. Walking up there in the parking lot, I literally felt like I was gonna throw up. I never thought I would be back in this building. It really did a number on me, guys. And the enemy took full advantage of that. So I sit down in the back, and the worship is great, and the word was amazing. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to church on Wednesday. And then I went back on Sunday, and then I went back on Wednesday. And finally I was like, this place is my church. So the same church, the same building that made me completely run amok for 17 years, that made me turn my life away from the Lord, is the same church, is the same building that brought me back to my relationship with the Lord. What in the world? You could have not told me that would ever happen. But God is good, and he's faithful. And just don't make plans. Do not make plans because God laughs. Because he's funny. He's a comedian. We love him.
So my experience with church hurt was truly traumatizing. My healing journey took years. I would attend church, but there was a wall between me and church people. Church trauma had me paint all Christians with the same brush. They were all the same to me. I didn't volunteer at church because that meant I had to work closely with other believers, and I didn't want to have anything to do with them. I attended large churches because I could choose not to get to know anyone. I could choose not to get involved. I never left God because when I experienced the church hurt, I had already had enough history with God to know that wasn't him. That the experiences that I had at the church, that didn't represent him, that wasn't who he was. Honestly, church hurt worked in my favor because I decided to move forward in building a relationship with God. I was like, well, I'm going to push forward and I'm going to get to know God for myself. He met me in my pain. He gave me time to heal. He will just show up. He would just love on me. he became my bestie. He healed my heart. Honestly, I decided to give church a second chance because I love Jesus. Whatever is important to Jesus is important to me. Wherever he wants me to be, I show up.
This is for all my folks that have been church hurt. First of all, me too. But I was sitting there thinking about it this morning and thinking about how many friends that I have that no longer attend church and things like that. And it's strictly because of hurt that the church has caused them, and it's caused them to walk away from church. So I was kind of thinking about that this morning, and I felt like the Lord spoke to me in that moment, and he said, they hurt me too. And so I started thinking about that. And not only was Jesus persecuted by religious people, but I felt like he was telling me that when you were church hurt, they hurt him too. That he carried that hurt with you. And I'm not going to tell you to go back to church. I do think that it's important that we don't forsake the assembly. I think it's important that we're around other believers. But I've also been to a place where I didn't want anything to do with people. However, Jesus does not condone religious abuse. He does not condone spiritual abuse. He does not condone spiritual manipulation. And he just wants you to know today that when they hurt you, they hurt him too. That he has carried the same hurt that they hurt you with. You're not alone. And he still loves you. And when you hurt, he hurts. But he will carry you through that hurt. Because people are fallible. We fall. We make mistakes. But Jesus doesn't. He loves you today.
I want to talk about church hurt. I know this is a very sensitive topic that is not often talked about by Christians, but I want to give a Christian perspective on this and also share my experience with you. There's so many people who get hurt or offended by someone or something in a church, and they run away completely until they deconstruct and have no faith left. I don't want to dismiss your hurt from the church because I know it's a very real thing. I know how hurtful the church and the people can be. I know that the very place you thought would keep you safe is the place that hurt you. I know how that feels. Trust me, I've dated the narcissistic youth pastor to where I was receiving hate messages from people in the church. I've received fake phone calls, fake social media accounts. I've received all the things. I had people lie to my face and defame my character to my face. I know what it feels like to be rejected and to be misunderstood and to be completely torn apart by people in the church. I know what it's like to have to walk away from a church that you love. But while walking away from a church, I want to make this very clear. I never once questioned or walked away from Jesus. We live in a broken world with very broken people. The people in the church are very broken as well. The people in ministry, your leaders, are broken people. We're all imperfect people because we live in a sinful and broken world. People are going to hurt you and they are going to let you down. But I want to make it clear that Jesus wants to walk through the hurt with you. He wants to walk through that trauma with you. He also wants to walk through your healing with you. He wants to help you process it all. He wants to help you process all of your emotions. I mean, at the end of the day, he is the one that gave you emotions. But he also wants you to get back into community and be in unity with other believers because we were made to be in relationship with others. We're in situations where we have to leave a church to stay with Jesus. But don't stay away from a church for too long. You need to pursue a Christian community under a shepherd who can help you heal. Be spending daily time in his word and in his presence. Iron truly sharpens iron. You need to be with others.
Church hurt is real, but we're going to call it what it is. It's people hurt. Because I can assure you, God did not reject you, gossip about you, make you feel left out, make you feel unseen, unwanted, unloved, forgotten about. God did not do that. People did. And trust me, I know. When hurt happens in church, it cuts deeper because church is supposed to be a place of love, a place of family, a place of community, a place of like-minded people. But when people fail us, when they're ugly to us, when they make us feel unseen, unwanted, unloved, left out, forgotten about, gossip about us, it is so easy to blame God, to even walk away from him completely. But hear me when I say, God did not do that to you. God is not the people that hurt you. You cannot let their actions separate you from the one who loves you the most. If anything, you need to let that push you closer to him. Psalms 34:18. The Lord is near the brokenhearted. He saves those crushed in spirit. God sees your hurt. He sees the rejection that you have faced. And he cares. He is not done writing your story. So if you are carrying around this church hurt, this people hurt, I want to remind you that it was not God. And when you think about it, I want you to forgive them again and again and take that step towards healing. You will find the right church for you. You will find that place of community that you want so badly. It's out there. The right church is out there for you.
I echo that church trauma is a real thing. Church hurt is particularly painful because it is experienced in a setting where people go for love, healing, and community. When church becomes a place of pain, it can feel like a betrayal because you were wounded in a place that was meant to bring you healing. Your pain and your experiences are valid. If you are dealing with church hurt, invite God in. Please know that healing is possible. Yes, it is possible for you to be whole again. Psalm 147:3 reads, He heals the brokenhearted and he binds up their wounds. Pray and ask God to help you heal and forgive those who hurt you. Give the pain to God. Lay it at his feet. Ask him to use it to strengthen your faith and to draw closer to him. Let him turn your wounds into wisdom and your hurt into healing. I would love to hear your story. Please share in the comments. Please subscribe and thank you for watching.